everyone. Welcome. So happy to see all of you logged in tonight. I want to welcome everybody. As you know, I'm Chris from the Harmonie Club, and I'm very happy to have François here with us tonight. Our virtual sessions wine tasting class, Summer in the French Countryside, is the topic this evening, and we have 2 reds, 2 whites, and 2 rosés. First, though, a few housekeeping items before we begin. I was going to mute everyone, but I'm going to keep everyone muted for now, but you can use your space bar on your keyboard as a push to talk button if you have any questions. We encourage you also to submit questions throughout the program using the chat feature in your Zoom toolbar or by using the hand raising feature, and if the time is right, I'll call on you. We'll have a Q&A session at the conclusion of the tasting as well. Feel free to keep your camera, your video on or off, whatever you are most comfortable with. This session is going to be recorded and will be added to our virtual Clubhouse resources on our website, like all of our other programs. Tonight, we partnered with Gotham Wines and Mitchell's Wine and Liquors in New York City to make sure that the wines we're tasting were available to members. They both deliver. I'm happy to hear we even had one member get the wines delivered from New York City out to the Hamptons. So happy that that worked out. And thank you to François for coordinating that. A little bit about François before I turn it over to him. François, he was born in France. He's been in the food and beverage business for more than 20 years. I've known him for several years. He's always a treat to work with. From working in high-end restaurants in New York City to the most luxurious hotel in the whole world, the Burj Al Arab, François brings to the table lots of passion and excitement for wine. And tonight he'll teach us about these 6 wines and what makes them so special and unique. Right now, François works with Gabriella Wines and Sales and Experts out of New York City, and he helps me also curate the wine list for the Harmonie Club. So without further ado, François, why don't you take it away?
Yes, thank you very much. So I want to welcome everybody. So for this session, I want to say thank you to Chris, of course, to give me to get decided to give me the opportunity to give the opportunity to Gabriella Wine to show some of our selection. So let me tell you a little about those wines and Gabriella's. The particularity of Gabriella, we are almost 15 years in New York. We are a direct importer. That's very important, meaning that we don't buy from a negoce or broker. Most of those producers are friends of the owner, Jacques-Alexandre Azoulay. Maybe some of you know him. So we work very closely for those people for many years. Some of them from almost from the beginning of the company, meaning 13 to 14 years. Voilà, we have seen them become bigger and sometimes a little more famous. Voilà. So this is the reason tonight we bring you 6 wine, because the summer is coming. It's going to be, I think, a hot summer and maybe a long summer. So it will be good to have a couple of very nice wine for every day, maybe also some special occasion. So we choose wine that are very versatile. You can drink those wine by yourself, with friends, with light meal, with meat all day. They are all very interesting. They represent pretty well the geography of France. We're going to go from Loire to Bordeaux to the south of France and the Burgundy. We have so 6 wine. We have 2 white, 2 rosé, and 2 red. They are different, but with some similarity. But this is what very important and very nice about the French wine. Alors, so I make a little something. So you guys here, voilà, they're already on ice. I just want to give you just 2 tips, because I saw every year the same mistake in restaurant, and sometimes with friends get discussion. When you put your wine needs to be in the fridge all the time. When you take your wine out, you put your wine on ice only. Don't put water. Don't put water with your wine. There is no need for that, because outside in general it's very hot, so the ice melt. We melt no matter what very fast. But it's also for the bottle. You know, when you get water, you get the label after disappear. You end up with the water swimming, the label swimming or to be destroyed. And it's not very nice and not very comfortable, and you don't change anything. So please, ice only. It looks better, and it's better for the wine no matter what. Voilà, that was just a little point. I took also the freedom to bring a little cold cut with me because I like to talk about that and those wine, because it's very good to know what you can do with that and what you can enjoy at any time of the day. So a couple of ideas also that I will share with you. So
Francois, if I could add to that, for all of the members logged in, Chef Thomas also listed some cheeses that could go with any of the wine selections for any of our wine masterclasses this month if you log into our calendar and check it out. So just wanted to let all the members know.
Okay. Yes, it's very important. Cheese, wine and cheese, whatever wine, rosé, white, red, cheese cold cut, it's international. It goes with almost all wines, and it's always very delicious and super enjoyable, as we said in France. But the bread also, it's important, and we'll talk quickly maybe a little after about that. Well, I'm French. I fight for the bread, not the cracker. Okay, bread, real bread, no cracker, please. Alors, let's start. For the rosé, we have two rosé. Okay, we will go through them one by one, but I want to introduce those rosé to you. Voilà. So we have a rosé from the Provence region. It's the Montrose rosé, typical of the rosé from the south of France. We see by the color, and you have another rosé with a little more structure, a little less light, and I will tell you why we have chosen them with Chris. So let's start. With the Montrose. It's a very, very, very special rosé. We know that in France there is so many rosé. Only in the South Languedoc region you have at least already 400 rosé. Why this is particular? It's because the property Montrose keep the same name since the property always existed. But why he make it special? In 1701, Louis XIV, what we call the Sun King, sent one of his ministers who was also an engineer and responsible of the south of France. He sent Joseph Lazare with the mission to give the property Montrose to the Coste family in exchange to make the best rosé in the world. So today, almost we are 300 years after, is the same family, and they have produced rosé and only rosé in the property since then. Never red, never white, even if they are beautiful vine, but only rosé. Last year or 2 years ago, Jancis Robinson, who was in France, and she liked to be around, she discovered the rosé. She gave him beautiful rating. The family Coste was not aware about it. So it arrived, they met after by accident, they invite her, they got a beautiful meal in the property, and she got a great experience, and she was very impressed by this family who's very low-key. It's not a family who go through marketing, it's just people who have the passion for 9 generations for the wine. We have 9 generations for the wine, and from father to son, perpetuate the quality and the love of the wine. What I would like to say also, it's very important with them, the property, the Montrose, okay, we take the name from the Mont, it's the hill, a rose and the peak, because the property was, is built lie on an old volcano, surrounded by old volcano. It's a small hill. You don't left much. After so much time, it's not a so big volcano. It's a little hill, a very, very old volcano. What left from a volcano, surrounded by almond tree. So when come the spring, all the almonds are in flowers. They are the pink flowers. So it's the pink hill. de Montrose. So this is what comes from the name. Also, the family cost, you know, here you have the armory or the blason of Joseph Lazare. Lazare, it's like the lizard, and his blason was a tree lizard, you know, on a shield, and they keep it since then as a thank you to have been lucky to get this land from the Sun King. Voilà, 1701. So it's a beautiful, it's a very nice bottle. Also, it's very easy to very easy to grab. You have it on hand very well. This is a screw cap. There is sometimes it's very practical when you are I don't know, outside the garden or with your friend. You don't have always maybe a wine opener with you, but this is perfect also. So this is a beautiful wine.
So Francois, I should tell everyone the Rosé Montrose. It's also what we serve as the house rosé at the Harmonie Club. And in our classes in the past 2 weeks, one of the topics we talked about was the difference of corks and caps and what some of the pros and cons are to them. So this is a wine that should definitely be drank really young, right? Most rosés should be drank very young.
Alors, yes. It's a little different, maybe with the second one, but yes, this kind of rosé Provence, very pale, very light. They need to be fresh, and they are better in their first year. Right. This one is 2019. 18 will be fine, but we recommend 18. It's still good because it's a rosé of quality. It's a beautiful rosé. It's very well made. However, this kind of rosé, very light, very pale color, we recommend to be drinking in the second year. It's an harvest 2019. Better to drink them in 20. So for this summer.
So even though this one has a screw cap, it's still very good. So I don't want people to get the wrong impression.
Yes, after that, I know there is a lot of discussion, but however, for those wines that they are not meant to be kept, the screw cap is perfect. For wine differently, like Bordeaux or some of them, or this one that you can keep 15 or 20 years, I'm not sure. You need something a little different. But for the rosé and for the young white wine, it's something very appropriate today. The technique is very well controlled. There is no issue about that in terms of quality and hygiene with the wine. Voilà.
I was wondering, we had one question from the audience already. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the difference in technique that you make that rosé wine, how it's made versus red wine. It has a lot to do with skills, I guess.
The process is totally the same. For the red and rosé, we got the color. There is two kinds of extraction for the red wine. You have the classic skin contact and fermentation. So by the skin contact with the juice, more you keep the marc in the juice. It's like a marination. More you're gonna extract the tannin, the pigment from the skin. Okay, because the color of the wine comes from the skin. Inside the berries. The berries are translucent. They are white. They deliver white wine. The color comes from the skin. So you can understand that the difference of color will come from the time of the exposition of the extraction. For the wine, for example, for the rosé, it's very short. It can be, as short as sometimes like 48 hours only. For the red wine, it could be totally different. We're going to go sometime for very deep wine, it can go until a week or maybe more. For example, in the Beaujolais, we do the carboxylic fermentation. We can get very dark and very extraction color with berries that sometimes are not so dark. So, for example, we call it the gamay. So you have the gamay, what we call a jus blanc. It's a black gamay. It's like a pinkish skin, but the extraction, the very long extraction and the very long maceration can give wine very dark, very inky, very purple. So this one, no, it's made from Grenache. Okay, the majority of the wine is Grenache. Grenache, so it's already berries more on the red light. It's not so dark, and Cinsault and a little Syrah, but that we will talk after for the testing and maybe the aroma and the bouquet. So this is the main difference. Exposition, maceration, and the skin contact between the jus and the mou or the marc of the wine.
Cool.
Chris. Alors, what's also very important to understand, Le Montrose is one of the few and one of the first winery in France to be carbon neutral. The family cost is very, very focused on the biodiversity, sustainability, and this is one of their main goals with the quality of the wine. They are very committed to protect the biodiversity, in their vineyard. Okay, they recover, for example, all the mou, all the marc at the end, and they reinject them on the land to give the land a little more light, a little more airy. That's very important. They are also replanting all the time, all around the property, different tree. Olive tree, almond tree, oak, quince, really to have something very different who's gonna bring really in terms of drainage, drainage, also pollination, something very special and as much as natural as possible. Voilà. So that is for the wine. What I was saying also, yes. We invite you, if by any chance you go to France, I don't know, maybe not this year or after, and I just want to remind that our producer will be always very happy, very, very happy to make our client, our friend, to make you a tour of the property, to give you a degustation, and for some of them who are well equipped, organize lunch for you, always with great, great, great pleasure. So that I want to not forget this point. Is very important.
We'll have to plan a Harmonie trip. I think the last Harmonie member trip was to Cuba. It's been a few years, so we'll have to do one to France, wine country.
So we will have the time to plan it very well accordingly. Something very, very intense because they love to see in France about wine if you love wine. Alors, so voilà, the wine. You know, very important also, those wines need to be very fresh, to be served fresh. We don't, you know, it's always balanced. Sometimes I understand outside it can be very hot in the summer and we want to drink ice cold. Ice cold, you know, mask some flavor with the wine. Okay, so if you wine too cold, okay, it may be refreshing. You can drink quickly a lot, but you will lose sometimes some aroma and some flavor. So it's better to have a wine. You know, you don't need to have a. I'm sorry, I'm going to speak in a degree because I'm not so famous with the Fahrenheit. But in France, you know, we drink those wine 5-6 degrees. Sometimes it's better to have close to be frozen, like 2 degrees. I think it's maybe said 33. We drink them 35, 36, 37 degrees. I think if I'm right, and closer than that. It's not the best for the wine. Voilà. Alors, if some of you have the one and that you want to maybe try with us, you can see it's a typical color, south of France, Provence region. You know, we are very close from the Mediterranean. I think no more than 15 miles. So it's a beautiful weather. The summer is the winter is mild, but the summer are hot and sometimes windy. We have the Tramontane behind. The wind comes from the north between the Pyrenees and the Massif Central. We are really on the south. I don't know if you for the one who are familiar, really on the south of France, we have the Mediterranean, who reach from Italy, France, and Spain. It's a beautiful ocean. It's a calm ocean. It's always warm. There is no big temperature, but the climate, the temperature and the mild wind bring in the morning a good qu'on appelle ça coolness, some freshness in the morning and very hot afternoon. So it's perfect for the wine. Voilà. So you can see the color very pale, like very pinkish, very delicate.
So I want to encourage members, since tonight's session is more of a tasting side by side, make mental notes or even jot them down, but make mental notes about the things that you like for each wine that you try. So as you taste the next one, you can really compare and contrast them. If anybody wants to share some of their tasting notes, what they think about this first rosé, you can use the space bar on your keyboard as a push to talk, or you can unmute yourself. But for me, I get a lot of salinity in this. I think it's a great summer wine because it would be perfect with some grilled fish. It's very, for me, I get a little bit of peach flavors with a little bit of spiciness that kind of cleanses the palate. So I really like it.
Yes, you have a touch of spiciness. That's because of the Syrah who bring this touch of spiciness. You have the peach, yes, little berries, red berries, cantaloupe and strawberry. It's very delicate. It's there at the end. You have the strawberry, but it's very light. This is what we want from a rosé in France. We want something very light, very easy to drink. You can drink all day in your kitchen while you cook, with your friend around the table, on the boat, if you have a very nice boat sailing on the sun, or around the pool. That's perfect. That's something that you can drink all day, as you said. Salad, very, very light meal. Sushi, it's great, and any kind of salad. Voilà, that's something very nice. Voilà, so I'm gonna keep on the side because I like to always to keep my wine on the side and come back to that because I want to go to the second wine. Alors voilà. Alors, Nicole Miller. So you say I'm sure you know Nicole Miller, the fashionista. She's a friend of Jacques-Alexandre Azoulay, the CEO of the company. They know each other for a long time, and she has a beautiful line of garment for ladies, and she has done a couple of special action with Jacques about cleaning the ocean and the beach around the Hampton, and they got this idea 2 years ago maybe to make a rosé. She knows our wine. She wanted something very bold. It's very simple, so it's a very simple rosé. This one is 18, and I will tell you the difference with the other one, and why they are very interesting, and why they are very interesting here, because we do a lot of tasting with clients, and the feedback is very interesting for this wine. So what's very important, we do this rosé. It's a private label, so that we do for Nicole. That comes from one of our chateaux. Our partner, we have Jacques. He has an American partner, Tom Sullivan, who's passionate about French wine. He's crazy about French wine. And 3 years ago, he decided to buy 2 chateaux in Bordeaux. And he was so happy. I think a couple of months later, he bought 2 more. So one of the chateaux, it's a Chateau Auguste. It's a beautiful property around 250 acres in Entre-deux-Mers. If you know Bordeaux, we have, before to come to the Gironde, we have the 2 rivers, and we call them Entre-deux-Mers, and this is where is situated the Chateau Auguste. And Auguste, in Bordeaux is very, very famous for the red. It's the red all around the world. This is Bordeaux. Maybe 5 to 10% of white, the Sauterne and some Sémillon and very good white Bordeaux, but very rare. It's the rosé. It's less than 2% in Bordeaux are doing rosé. Why? Because the Merlot, we have Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, are beautiful grape, and it's true that they are made to do red wine by their quality. It's beautiful wine. The land in Bordeaux, it's amazing. So a lot of producers are very shy to do Bordeaux, but when they do a rosé, it's very nice. And this one is beautiful. It's made by our winemaker Damien Landois. He is the winemaker for our 4 property, and he created a rosé.
He's a very famous French winemaker, I might add.
Damien Landois is now he was basically at the beginning the winemaker now for 27 or 28 years of Chateau Gaby in Canon-Fonsac, and I will tell you a little more about this wine after. And when Tom Sullivan bought Chateau Gaby, he loved so much, fell in love with Damien Langlois, and he asked him to take care of his 4 property. So different style, different work, the wine that they are all different. Damien didn't make 4 Gaby, no, he kept the originality of each wine, and with a lot of effort, investment, we are raising the quality of this wine, and we try to make them famous in the US, because they are now mostly we want to keep them for the US market. So the Auguste Rosé and Nicole Miller. So Nicole Miller, it's made from a Merlot. It's a beautiful rosé with a little more. You can see a little more skin contact. He has a little more structure. It's a wine that you can. It's a rosé that you can also enjoy all day. For the summer, it's very fresh. However, we have a lot of clients who call it also the winter rosé, because you have people who want to drink rosé all around the year. This one become a little light because in the winter you eat a little more fatty, a little more salty, a little more heavy, and this is the kind of wine, the kind of rosé who is very versatile, very polyvalent. You can have almost anything with it. If you really want to have a rosé, I drink rosé, I want to have rosé with my meal, this is a rosé that we can recommend. Okay, so this rosé is more than 90% Merlot, and you have some Cabernet Sauvignon to give him to help also in the structure and also in the blend and the scope of flavor. It's also a wine that is made with organically grown and certified organic grape. So we have the certification, the French certification EcoCert for this wine. Voilà. So it's also a vegan wine. So maybe some of you gonna love. Maybe it's the first time that you hear about it. But our 4 property are now making a vegan wine. Voilà. That's very important. I'm gonna. Voila. So you can see. So it's a beautiful. Yes, a very nice color, a little more different pink. It's a pink that we call it sometimes a little salmon. It's more on this one is a little more rose, pinky, rose, pale. This one has a color that you can see. It's a little more salmon. It's a very nice, delicate salmon color.
So if anybody wants to share any of the things that they're tasting, again, feel free to unmute yourself or use the space bar as a talk to push button. I'll start though. For me, I get a little bit of raspberry, a little bit of strawberry. I definitely get a heavier notes on the nose. I think that comes from it having a little bit of that Cab Franc and Cabernet Sauvignon in it. But it's a great rosé. Like Francois said, this is something that you can have with a nice fatty piece of meat on the grill, and would be great all year long. The other one I would do more seafood with, cheese, drinking all day long. I personally like the first one better, but I do like them both for their diversity.
Alors yes, you have also some tangerine scents, this one. But this is the classic French rosé from the south, Languedoc or Provence region. When you talk about rosé, 99% of the people in France, or maybe also now here in the US, when you tell them French rosé, this is what they think about. After, if you have a little more curious and you want to see something different, a little more different, this is also a beautiful rosé.
In one of my past lives, I used to do a summer program all about rosés, and we would do rosés from around the world. You can get them from all over the place. You can have Negramaro rosés from Italy and Tempranillo rosés or Rioja rosés from Spain. So there's a lot of really interesting ones out there. So I encourage everyone to check them out and explore them and see what things you like the most.
There is fantastic all around the world, and you will always come back to the French rosé. Even
Très bien.
it's perfect to benchmark the wine. You start with the French wine, you go all around the world, and you come back to the French wine. That's my advice. So voilà, beautiful wine. If you like fish, you know, any kind of grilled fish, sushi, salad, salmon, tuna, a nice steak. If you want a juicy steak, it's perfect. If you want a beautiful risotto, it will pair perfectly. And also, of course, with the cheese, that would be very well. We're talking about cheese. I recommend with those wine always. You know, you can have goat cheese, you can have manchego from Spain, a nice camembert, fatty cheese, and you will see that I didn't bring blue cheese, and I will tell you a little later why the blue cheese need a different kind of wine for me. So this is about the rosé. Voilà. So we were in the south of France, in the Languedoc. Okay, 25 miles from the coast behind Montpellier. It's a beautiful region with a nice winter, hot summer. We came out like 200 miles, a little up, in Bordeaux, not far from the capital of Bordeaux. We are in the Entre-deux-Mers, you know, between, we call it Entre-deux-Mers because it's between the left bank and the right bank. Voilà. So two beautiful rosés, something a little lighter, typical of the south, and something a little more funky, a little more curious. Voilà.
So Francois, we're just coming up on 6:40, so I want to make sure we have enough time for the other things.
Yes.
So
sorry for that.
One of my favorite grapes and a very, very popular grape is Sauvignon Blanc, and I know that's one of these here today. So.
Alors, yes. Alors, also for the white, two white in France, where we are very good for the white. There is two regions in France, the two best regions for the white, the Loire Valley, and of course the Burgundy. We're gonna start with the Loire Valley. Loire Valley, it's a beautiful region in France. It's fantastic. It starts 120 miles south of Paris, and you go full blast west. 200, 300 miles until the Atlantic Ocean, you know, close to Nantes and Saint-Nazaire, with the Loire River drop, of course, in the Atlantic. Alors, why this wine? You know, this wine comes from Touraine. Touraine is right in the center of the Loire Valley. Why Touraine is very famous? Because the region of Touraine, the capital is Tours, and this is around this region that around 60, 70 miles were built in the 15th and 16th century some of the most beautiful castle. Said the castle of the Loire Valley. It's a very famous trip that we recommend to people. That we really recommend if you have the chance to come in France. The climate is fantastic. This is the place to be in the summer because it's not like over hot. It's like, for example, to be in the Hampton in the summer. The south of France, it's more like to be in Miami in the summer. So the climate is beautiful. The wine are delicious, and the food is amazing and very rich. So this wine come the Davo family. Davo family. They are in the wine business since 1850. Even if the property around is doing wine since the 16th century. So they start with a little property. They had around 30 acres at the beginning, and going with success and the desire to satisfy a little more people. In 1980, they bought another like 80 or 90 acres, and I think today the property is around 135, 150 acres. So they're not doing only the Sauvignon Blanc, they are doing some red, they work also a little with the Pinot Noir, but this is the leader of their property, is the Domaine de la Chaise. The property, the wine has the name of the property. It's 80 acres, is the biggest parcel, is 80 acres of a beautiful Sauvignon Blanc on a soil, the typical soil that you find in the Loire for the Sauvignon Blanc. It's a combination of clay and marl. I forget the name all the time. forget the name of the stone that we have, like a chalky stone, voila, and clay. So it's perfect for the drainage, and it really gives all the authentic profile, flavor, and bouquet of the Sauvignon Blanc. You know, in France, the Sauvignon Blanc has a scope, a very wide scope of flavor and aroma. It's not only the agrim; it's much more than that. And this is what we're gonna be able to enjoy now. It's a beautiful bottle. You know, it's an appellation. They got the fleur de lis, the lilies. You know, because also Tours, it was the city of the king before, the region before Paris, the capital of France was in Tours. This is why it's very special historically for us in France. Voilà. Alors,
so for everyone coming in, last week during our white wine masterclass, we weren't able to taste Sauvignon Blanc, and I think that this is an excellent example of Sauvignon Blanc, and it's not from the Sancerre region, which we also talked about. You know, it can only be called Sancerre if it's from the Sancerre region, but all Sancerre is Sauvignon Blanc. Not all Sauvignon Blanc is Sancerre. And this is a great example of a French Sauvignon Blanc that I think has those tropical notes that I really enjoy. And I enjoy French Sauvignon Blancs almost exclusively when I talk about Sauvignon Blanc. But you can get them a lot of other places, Marlborough, New Zealand, you know, Chile. But I think that the French Sauvignon Blancs are definitely superior still for my palate. But maybe you could talk about the differences between French Sauv Blancs and maybe other ones that you know, the defining characteristics.
It's very simple. There is only one Sauvignon Blanc. The Sauvignon Blanc is born in the Loire Valley, and he have been exported all around the world now. But what makes it special? It's not because it's France, you know. It's the terroir, it's the soil. La Loire Valley has a very, very, very special soil. You come to the Crétacé. We are talking about to like a billion years ago. The soil is made from clay and limestone. Voilà, it's a combination of clay and limestone. This is why it give him this very mineral taste, this freshness. And this is very special. It's a kind of soil that you find only in France, in the Loire Valley, a little in Burgundy, and if you go north, also you will have them in the Côte des Blancs in Champagne. So those soils are perfect. They give all the expression for the Sauvignon Blanc and also for the Chardonnay in Chablis. Voilà. So this is why those wines they are not only citrus. Other countries do beautiful Sauvignon Blanc. New Zealand do fantastic Sauvignon Blanc, but I think they are more mono flavor. They are very focused on the citrus. In France, it's much more wide. You have sometimes this flinty aroma that you have because the proximity of the volcano of the Loire Valley brings some sulfur in the soil, but also the wine. Like for example, this one, you have a beautiful nose. You have a ripe pineapple, lychee. It's clear. You really can enjoy on the nose and the palate the lychee, dry fruit, but it's a very dry wine. Voilà, they are very dry. They are very mineral. They are very exciting.
And again, all of these wines, I know that Mitchell's in New York City does deliver out to the Hamptons. I know a few of you are out there. I see Sue Moss and some others who might be out east. So don't be shy and definitely get these.
Voilà. So that's what we recommend from that. All kind of goat cheese. The Sauvignon Blanc is the perfect pairing with the goat cheese. Voilà. And it's delicious if you have any fish or maybe a rabbit with cream. A cream sauce, fresh cream sauce, mushroom, or if you want to deglaze, some meat, some white meat like chop or veal chop, that's the perfect things. Little deglazing, a spoon of creme fraiche, and you will enjoy a a fantastic meal with the Sauvignon Blanc without the price of the Sancerre. It's another story. It's neighboring, but they have a little more, but you can make the difference. This is delicious. You can enjoy it all the summer with your friend. That I recommend this one. Touraine, voilà, le domaine de la chaise. Alors, now we're going to change. We're going to go to Burgundy. Also, in Burgundy, there is a Macon. For more than that, in Burgundy, we have a friend. We have La Famille Naudin. La Famille Naudin, it's a big family in the wine business in Burgundy. They are the biggest producer of Crémant. You know, the Crémant, it's the grape that we used to do the sparkling wine in France. Okay, you have the Chardonnay and other for the Champagne, but you have the Crémant d'Alsace. And the company name, because there are many companies, it's Veuve Vambal. And Veuve Vambal is the biggest producer of sparkling wine in France. They are based in Burgundy, also generation of Naro, and they produce this beautiful Macon Village. Voilà, le Naudin Varon. It's a beautiful Macon Village. You know that in Macon, you have 3 categories of Macon. You have the Macon, you have Macon Supérieur, and the Macon Village. That's considered the best of the 3. Alors, the situation, you know, you have Burgundy, and it's also beautiful region. It's a vertical region. It starts very close to Paris. This is a little east, like 50 miles, let's say 70 miles of Paris. You have Dijon. This is what we call the door of the Burgundy. Burgundy, it's a fantastic region, I know, and I'm sure that you know Burgundy. You know, you have what we call la Côte d'Or. La Côte de Nuit, la Côte de Beaune, we have Chablis, we have the Mâconnais, and after we have the Beaujolais. It's 5 beautiful regions with very different wine. You have their own character, their own complexity, famous all around the world. And the Mâconnais is the biggest producer of white wine. If you like Burgundy, it's very vertical, it's very skinny region of wine. But the Mâconnais, when you're getting close from Lyon, it's around 300 miles from Paris. You have this big region of Mâconnais who produce very fresh, very dry white wine. So we are in the south. In the north, you have Chablis. Chablis, they will do a Chardonnay with a little more mineral, a little more citrusy. Why? Because the soil, as I said, is made also from clay and limestone, so it gives a lot of minerality, a lot of exotic fruit. In the south, it's totally different. It's much more stony, schist, some red clay, and the Chardonnay has a totally different profile. In the south, it's much more flowery, you know, acacia. You have a lot of aroma of white fruit, pear, apple, and also some honey. This is a beautiful wine. It's very light, and that's also something that you can enjoy. You can drink this wine by itself. It's delicious. You need to try it. When you start the bottle, and I can guarantee you, I cook here a lot at home. I'm passionate about cooking. I love to cook and I love to drink. And it's me who cook at home. And you know, sometimes when I start to cook and I open a bottle, I don't go until the bottle is already done before I finish to cook with my wife. Voilà. So
we'll have to ask your kids to vote on cooking. Maybe you can do our next kids cooking class.
Yeah, I love food. I think it's the most beautiful thing in the world. It's the best moment that you will spend with friends, and I will always believe that and always say that. The best moment that I believe that you can spend with your friend and your family, it's around the table with a beautiful meal and a nice bottle of wine. There is nothing for me better than that.
So this is actually a really great example, everyone, of an old world style Chardonnay or white Burgundy. We talked a lot about last week the difference between old world and new world Chardonnay in particular, and how most white wines, in fact all white wines coming out of Burgundy, have Chardonnay in them as really the primary varietal. This one I find to be very soft and, like you said, Francois, it doesn't have a whole lot of oak, or it has a lot more of that earthiness. I get a lot of pear, and like you said, honey. For me, I get a lot of sweet pear on it, and it makes it a really soft, gentle Chardonnay that if people aren't accustomed to old world Chardonnays, this is what they are, versus the big, robust California.
Yes, because in France, the white, young white, we want them, as you said, very aromatic, very light. So there is no barrel, no oak. Most of the time, stainless steel, concrete vat. For some of them, maybe some malolactic, to reduce the acidity and to give them a little more buttery side. In the US, it's different. Yes, you are very woody, very intense young wine. However, when you have some wine, when you go at the top, the Burgundy, Bâtard Montrachet, and really when you go very high end in Burgundy, again they move, and also those wine you will find the oak in those wine. But it's really when you go high end in the wine. Wine that you can keep 15 to 20 years. Voilà. This one, no. That's something that you can keep a couple of years. There's no problem with that. But we always recommend this kind of wine to drink them young, because they will be very mineral and very fresh, very, very enjoyable.
Delicious. Does anybody want to share any notes that they're getting from tasting it? If they have the wines, like I said, I get a lot of pear, but. Now we can move on to the reds. The more I listen to you speak, Francois, the hungrier I get. I wish I had a cheese board like that.
I have a place that I love in New York. It's Elizabeth. I'm sure you all know Elizabeth. And why I love Elizabeth? Because Elizabeth do the authentic rosette de Lyon. It's authentic. It's the real one coming from Lyon. It's sausages. It's delicious and fantastic, and I find it at Elizabeth, and it's delicious. I came yesterday. I prepare and I go and I get a couple of pieces of cheese from the place. I love this place. They have beautiful charcuterie, beautiful cold cut, and amazing cheese. I recommend 81st and I think 3rd. Fantastic place.
Good, very good. We'll have to check it out.
Alors, now.
So we have some reds.
Yeah, we got the red. Alors, for the red, we got 2 red. Voilà. Alors, I'm going to start with this one. This one is a little special. It's a twist. It's a twist red wine. Why? Because to tell you the story, we own the property. This is there is Château Gaby. Château Gaby in Canon-Fonsac. It's like a little gem. Everybody, if I say Saint-Émilion on the right bank along the Dordogne River, you have Saint-Émilion, you have Pomerol, and next to Saint-Émilion, you have Canon-Fonsac. Canon-Fonsac, before the Second World War, was very famous, much more than Saint-Émilion. And Saint-Émilion, after the Second World War, it's still, sometimes it's not easy to understand what become fashionable and what people they like, but there was a shift, and Saint-Émilion become famous all around the world, of course, for his wine, his famous wine. So this is why Canon-Fonsac is fantastic. It's today a little gem. It's a name that's coming up every year. This is where you have the property Château Gaby that we own. It's a beautiful property. It's a beautiful chateau. It's a real chateau where we have 6 or 8 rooms. We love to invite our friends there with a beautiful pool. It's a little on the hill. You can see the river and you can see the entire property, the vineyard. It's fantastic. In 2013 was not an amazing year for the wine in Bordeaux. There was not too much juice. The juice was very restrained. He didn't give too much. This is why Damien Andoire decided to not do a millésime. There is no Gaby 13 or Princess Gaby, our second wine. So he kept the wine. He kept the wine on the side, And now 2-3 years ago, when Tom Sullivan bought the property, so he was eating the property and he found this wine and he tried the wine and he loved the wine and they didn't know what to do because it was too late to put a millésime for Gabi. And last year, Jacques had an idea, say, okay, let's create a private label. What can we do? And Jacques had the idea to create the Baron de Saintonge, with the cross, the symbol of like the kind of the musketeer in France. It's a little, there is a little connection. He give a royal side to the wine because it's a very famous and delicious wine. And also because the Baron de Saintonge is the saint of the winemaker in Bordeaux. So all the winemakers in Bordeaux are under the protection of Saintonge. Voilà, the Saintonge is the Lord and the guy who protect our vineyard in Bordeaux. So it's very nice. It's 2013. It's mostly Merlot. It's 80% Merlot, some Cabernet Franc, some Cabernet Sauvignon. The wine will rest 18 to 24 months in French oak barrel. So when you talk about barrel, this is a wine whose velvety, beautiful color, nice structure, toasty and woody notes, but also some cassis. It's a vibrant wine with a beautiful color, very red, red berries, and it's something that you can enjoy. We don't want to talk about price, but it's Gabi today. It's an expensive wine, and you can enjoy Gabi for half of the price. Voilà. So we made that to be nice with our client, with our friend. It's people who can afford a nice wine for a very good price. Voilà. So this is about the Baron de Saintonge. Canon Fronsac, again, it's a Merlot.
I think it's a really nice wine. I think that the Merlot provides a really nice medium-bodied softness that is able to highlight those red berries. I get some dry red berries and a little bit of tobacco. But I think because the Merlot is so even-keeled, and a lot of people kind of shy away from Merlot. Merlot has a bad reputation. But in old world winemaking, where a lot of times you don't see the varietal listed on the bottle, you'd be surprised to know that there's a lot of Merlot in it, or maybe some other wines that were once popular and are now, the popularity has ebbs and flows, if you will. But in France, they've I think stuck to that tradition of using it.
This is why that's something very important. Something is happening in Bordeaux. Robert Parker, for many years, was the guru of the wine, had an influence in Bordeaux. So the Bordeaux became very big, very big, very tannic, very, almost, they took like a new world style. So the time is changing, and in Bordeaux now there is a research again for the fine wine that we call the fine wine in Bordeaux. This is why Merlot, the right bank is really coming forward now, because as I said, you have Canon Fronsac. After for the Saint-Émilion, you have not only Saint-Émilion. We talk about the Saint-Émilion Montagne. The right bank has a lot to give. Merlot, when it's very well worked, it's a beautiful wine. As you said, it's medium body, but very intense, very velvety, very round. But it's also a big wine. You do big wine with Merlot. Too many times people they think, a cab. Oh no, it's not a Cabernet. Oh, we want a big cab. But sometimes the cab, they're big because they are very alcoholic. Merlot, what's great with the Merlot, it comes to maturity before the Cabernet Sauvignon. When the Cabernet Sauvignon needs 10 years, to relax in the bottle because they are very big wine, very tannic, very alcoholic. The Merlot already after 5 years come a little more delicate, more round, more accessible and enjoyable, young. Keeping in mind that still they are wine that you can keep for a very long time and appreciate for years and years and years after years. So this wine, the Baron, is the time you can drink it now. You can enjoy it now. It's a beautiful wine. It's a beautiful price. It's very mellow tannin. You can feel already. It's very long. It's very supple. It's very easy.
Yeah, very supple. I agree. That's a good way.
The berries are there. Little oaky, just what you know, just for you, just for you. Voilà, just the liver. It's a very well balanced wine. It's a very delicious wine. It's a beautiful wine. Alors, this is for the Baron Saint-Onge. Alors, and we're gonna finish. Alors, voilà, the last wine. Started something it's new. This one he arrived at Gabriela end of 2019. It's Chateau Labastienne. It's from Saint-Émilion. It's a montagne, Saint-Émilion. Alors, just to explain you have, if you look at Bordeaux, you have the Gironde, you have the Dordogne, you have those two rivers, you have the Dordogne, and you have Saint-Émilion, on the Saint-Émilion, Canon-Fonsac, and a little more, you know, just behind them, on the second line, you have the montagne, Saint-Émilion montagne. So it's still a Saint-Émilion. We call them Saint-Émilion because they are all the characteristics of Saint-Émilion. You know, they have a subsoil, the subsoil, red clay, who gives a beautiful drainage, hydration, make work the beans very well. It's the perfect soil for the Merlot. So they produce beautiful Merlot. And François Genuex, like me, it's a François. In 1928, he was in his 40s. He got passionate about the wine. He bought the property, and they started to produce fantastic wine. It's his grandson today who still run the property and really improve year after year the wine. They are very detailed. Even in they go until they are very detailed until until the corks. They put a lot of corks. Even the quality of the corks you can see for this kind of wine. You have a beautiful. It's a little detail, but the corks make the difference. Sometimes you can see that's. The quality of the cork is something, there is an investment even in the cork. So it's a beautiful wine. It's 100% Merlot. So it's a wine that's very round, very velvety, and it's a 2015. It's a beautiful year in Bordeaux. Climate was perfect. The winter was very mild. It didn't frost a lot. Good rain during the summer, but not too much because, you know, if there is too much rain, it's not good to soak, to have the vine to soak. Beautiful summer and a long summer. We call this like the Indian summer, l'été indien. A very long summer in September, and when they came in October for the harvest, they got beautiful berries. It's a hand harvest still today. And why they are very famous, because, you know, generation after generation, people who come every year for the harvest, many of them have met their husband or their wife during this period, and today their children or their grandchildren are still coming every year for the harvest of this little beauty, Chateau Labastienne. Voilà, so it's a beautiful wine. We love it. It's new with us. It's 2015. It's a beautiful millésime.
We'll have to bring all of our single members to go on that French wine tour trip and make sure we're there for the harvest.
It's a beautiful story. I think it's amazing. You know, you have so many wine, but sometimes, you know, what's make the difference? Why this Bordeaux? Why this wine? Sometimes it's the little story. And for Chateau Labastienne, they are very proud to, you know, they have a kind of a family, generation after generation, and this is what we like. Wine, it's not only an alcoholic beverage. It's also history, it's love, it's family, it's passion, it's know-how. It's something that you give generation after generation. That's very important for us. It's part of our history. It's in our blood.
Yeah, so for this one, I like it a lot, and I think that both wines are very different. This is also, like you said, Merlot, although this one I find to be a little bit drier. I would have this with maybe a heavier meal. This to me is a bigger wine than the first red that we tried, but just as delicious. I really like it. I think it's very well balanced. I get a little bit of leather. Still some of those little bit of that red fruit and berries. What about you?
I totally agree with you. This wine is a little drier because it's still young. Because this little wine that you see here, the Bastien, this is a wine that you can keep 15 to 20 years. So it's for this category of wine, this is very long. This is show you the quality and the dedication of the winemaker. This is it's a little wine, it's considered as a little wine. It's a Saint-Emilion, but it's already a wine that you can keep 15 to 20 years. So we are at 5 now. So we're just at the beginning. This is why it feels a little more dry. The tannins are still there. You know, it's a little astringent. It can dry your mouth. So it's a one that you can let breathe, but it's a one that you can enjoy it now if you want during the summer. Those wines are perfect also. If you are not a rosé person, you are somebody you want your red wine. That's perfect with all kind of meat. Duck magret in the south of France. We're very good for the magret, for the canard. I know we eat duck in France. We eat rabbit. I know it's terrible, but it's so delicious. And a magret, a duck magret, a little slice of a duck magret on the beautiful frisée salad with a little, a little dressing. Like a little strong dressing.
Vinegar or something. Got it. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's great with it. Very much so. I think I very much enjoyed all of the wine selections for tonight's tasting. I definitely have my favorites. If anybody would like to share some of theirs, definitely feel free to chime in. I've had some people tell me in the private chat which ones are their favorites. Somebody said they loved the Sauvignon Blanc, the Touraine as well. I really liked the white Burgundy, but some very, very delicious ones. Some of these wines we also carry at the Harmonie Club, and they'll be still available at Gotham Wine and Liquors and Mitchell's Wine and Liquors in New York City. So I encourage everyone who's either watching now or might tune in the future to check them out in New York City and purchase these wines, because they're wonderful examples of the varietals that they represent. So,
and really, you should carry all of them.
We'll work on it. We are
very thankful. We love Harmonie, and you know that Jacques is Jacques who introduced me to you and Davina. You know, the Harmonie Club is something very special. Jacques loved the Harmonie Club. He loved Davina. He always talking so great about you guys. And I will never be thankful enough, because when I arrived 2 years ago back in New York, you were one of the first who met with me and gave me the opportunity to make some business. So
it was my pleasure, Francois. Absolutely my pleasure. And you've been a good partner to work with over the years. So very much appreciate it. I'm going to unmute everyone so we can give you a round of applause and show our thank you. We're so happy to have you here, Francois.
Your round of applause.
Very nice. Thank you.
For everyone who's still tuned in, I encourage you to keep an eye on our events calendar. We have one more tasting wine masterclass lined up for June 30th. It is about everything bubbles. And so I encourage you all to attend. The wines that we'll be tasting are posted on the calendar listing, and they're available on wine.com for delivery. I also encourage you to check out the calendar, because next Tuesday we are taking a week off from our wine master classes for our annual meeting, the members' annual meeting. So I encourage everyone to please join us and log in on Zoom. You can also get a proxy for voting on the calendar listing. We have other fun events coming up in July, like Trivia Tuesdays. This coming Thursday, the day after tomorrow, will be our last virtual happy hour before we're into full swing summer. So I hope I see all of you guys there. And if you don't finish all of these bottles of wine tonight, hopefully I don't, but I'll have some left over for the happy hour on Thursday. That's all that I have, Francois. Thank you so much. Very appreciative. All right. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Love the enthusiasm. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.